What counts with that? Good afternoon, Beavercreek Rotary. How are y'all doing today? I think only one's awake. But anyhow, I want to thank Beth and Dave Cusack for greeting today. And I want to thank Eric and Josh and Beth for getting everything set up here. Mike and brain dead. Mark Weinstein and Pete line up for us. And I was going to ask Danny Garvey, but he told me yesterday he couldn't be here today. So I'll say the invocation that somebody else would like to. All right. Give bow your head, please. Heavenly Father, we're not going to ask anything of you today. I just want to thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Things you do every single day, every single minute. From waking us up to letting us sleep, making us make the right decisions. And we want to thank you for watching our first responders. They are in great danger every day. Sad. But again, we want to thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, you got a
Yeah, we're looking at up from last week, we're at 56.5 per candidate. We've got a couple of yes. Zach, you wanna introduce your guests?
Jack Dennis with me again, hopefully soon being a member, but he's here again as a guest.
Yeah, Sean Kessel with me, Sean Sergeant, Green County Sheriff's Office, and the supervisor for the Beavercreek Township Section. Yeah. So, well. Chris, you ready for your sergeant at arms? Yeah. Oh,
I know it's been a while.
They've been saving for you.
I guess so. Thanks, sir. Hello again, all our fellow Rotarians and our guests of Kessel, our potential future Rotarian, and our incredible speaker who will be up here soon. And welcome again to the August 22nd meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. And happy Antique Tractor Preservation Day. Years ago, these machines were the backbone of farms. They were reliable, tough, and steady. They weren't just good, they were absolutely outstanding in their field. And to this day, they are still outstanding in their field, literally. Moving on to some birthdays and anniversaries, I have a handful of belated to go through because I'm here for a while. So here we go. Happy belated to Danny Jarvie, who celebrated birthday on the 13th, along with Colin Kowalski and Alex Zahara. Apparently, August 13th is a great day in history for people being born. And then on August 19th, we had two. We had Matthew Bone and Tanvi, always mess up her last name, Banerjee. No one's correcting me, so we'll take that. All right. And because she likes to really celebrate everything on the same day, not only does she have a birthday on the 19th, but she had a wedding anniversary or a partner birthday. Her husband, or no, hold on, I misread that. It's still her birthday. It's just because they're husband and wife and they're here together. She pops up on here twice. Moving on, member anniversaries. We had Dave Stewart celebrate 51 years on the 1st of August. We had Alex Zahara celebrate 10 years on the 1st. Jim Jamber celebrated 33 years also on the 1st, and Ryan Rushing celebrated 2 years on the 14th. We also had Deborah Gross celebrate 2 years on the 14th. Brandon Hume celebrated 1 year, but we know he's been here much longer. Then we had Charles Curran celebrating 7 years on the 24th, and Randy celebrating 5 years on the 26th. We had one belated wedding anniversary. So Stephanie, I hope you remembered you had a wedding back on the 11th. Happy 30 years, by the way. Not to be outdone by Dan Tobias, who him and Mary Beth celebrated 52 years, or will be celebrating 50 years on the 25th. And Brian Jarvis, just a heads up, you also have a wedding anniversary on the 25th. They'll be celebrating 23 years. Some awesome things that happened on this day in history. Going back to 1762, Anne Franklin became the first woman newspaper publisher when she became the sole editor and publisher for the Newport, Rhode Island newspaper called the Newport Mercury. 1849, Austria launched a pilotless balloon attack against the Swiss, marking the first ever air raid in history. And it's safe to say that they did not have GPS or any kind of guidance system back then, other than maps in the wind. 1902, Theodore Roosevelt became the first U.S. president to appear in an automobile publicly. Does anyone know what car he was in?
Families.
No one is even remotely close. It was a Columbia Electric Victoria Phaeton. And yes, in 1902, they had electric cars that could get up to 13 miles an hour. 1989, NASA spacecraft Voyager 2 was approaching Neptune when they captured images revealing it did have a faint ring circling around the planet. 2007, Storm Botnet, which is a remotely controlled network of zombie computers, sent a staggering 57 million emails. These virus-filled emails accounted for almost 8% of all malware found on Microsoft devices in September of 2007. And then 2018, a 50,000-year-old human bone was discovered in Siberia, which is believed to be a young girl's big toe. Now for some fun things to celebrate. Saturday, if you're in the mood for some fresh air, you can definitely get some by reaching out to our friends at Skydive Green County to celebrate National Ride the Wind Day. If your name is Jonas, you will definitely be celebrating International Hashtag Day. Sunday is National Waffle Day and also Kobe Bryant Day. Monday, I think anyone who was a younger sibling got to unwillingly participate in National Secondhand Wardrobe Day. It's also National Banana Split Day, and I don't care what anybody says, Friendly still has the world's greatest banana split ever created. Tuesday, we got one of the most sought out items from 2020 getting its own day, where it's National Toilet Paper Day. We also have a very misleading one called National Web Mistress Day, which is to celebrate women who design and maintain websites and nothing else. Wednesday, if you have an abnormal love for tomatoes, you still have time to get a ticket to Spain to celebrate La Tomatina. And for those who are not internationally cultured people, that is the day where they have a giant food fight in the streets using only tomatoes. And if you do happen to travel abroad on Wednesday and don't like tomatoes, you can instead participate in International Lottery Day. Just keep in mind that every time you win, it's just like when Joe wins the Queen of Hearts, Rotary gets his cut just like his wife. Thursday, if you or anyone you know likes to eat while they're on the computer, you, along with those people, should take part in Crackers Over Keyboard Day, which is a fun reminder to clean out your dirty keyboards, especially if it's a shared workspace. But once you have a nice clean workspace, you can reward yourself by taking part in Race Your Mouse Around Desktop Icons Day. Some fun things to do to get out and about. Tonight, we have Friday Night Football is back tonight at 7 p.m. where undefeated Beavercreek will head over to Xenia to obviously continue their streak of 0 losses this season. And before you swing by, or before you head to the football game, you swing by Maine Elementary for their kickoff bash from 5 to 7. Tuesday, this probably won't be of interest to anybody in here, but our friends in the chamber will have their Zoom Business Boost webinar on improving your cash flow from 9:30 to 10:30. And this one will probably perk up the ears of the Cusacks from 9 to 11 on Tuesday as the newest Dunkin' Donuts in Beavercreek, because one clearly was not enough, will have their grand opening, and the first 100 people in line will win 100 days of coffee. Wednesday, the city of Beavercreek will host a public meeting about the Shakertown Road Improvement Project from 5 to 7 at City Hall. Thursday, the city will also be hosting a town hall focused on city finances right here from 6 to 8. And I think it is safe to say that the information presented there will be more accurate than the one guy you went to high school with that posts all about how we spend our tax dollars here on Facebook. And also on a side note, if anybody wants to drop a happy buck and tell the most comical comment you've heard about how the city spends and raises their money, I am all ears. All right, so some things that I've learned this week that actually has turned into a couple weeks now is, first, I have a question. Does golden soda pop or your idol ring a bell to anyone?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously there's a lot of people who do not have young ones in here. Those are three songs from an animated film on Netflix called K-pop Demon Hunters. Those three songs have been in the top 10 Billboard global songs for weeks. They currently also have four in the top 10 as of right now, with Golden being the number one song in the whole entire world. The soundtrack itself is number two on the global Billboard 200. It has racked up over 3 billion streams. On side, Huntrix and Saja Boys, which are the two musical groups in the movie, became the highest charting male and female K-pop groups ever. Now, this movie debuted on June 20th, and as of 2 days ago, it has just over 276.9 million views on Netflix, making it Netflix's most watched original animated film of all time and second most watched film of all time, right behind Red Line Notice, which has a total of 328 million views. But seeing the track that it's on, it's probably going to surpass that because it also set a record in the 5th week it was out with the most views in a week of 25.8 million views. And then last week, it broke its own record with a little over 26 million views. There's also a sing-along event this weekend at many movie theaters, which is really going to test the soundproofing and acoustics of those theaters. So if you do loud kids singing at the top of their lungs, I would avoid movie theaters this week. And with that being said, let's go on to our favorite part, today's fines. You're not wearing your badge, that's $1. If you were here late, Lambton, I'm not going to call you out, but that would be $1. If you still do not yell Kobe while trying to throw something into another something, that'll be $1. If you have ever had a web mistress, that'll be $1. And for all of those that have not had to sit in front of a TV or a radio and listen to K-pop Demon Hunters many times on repeat, that is $1. Dave, that'll have it.
So I'll get my fine one here.
We take IOUs too.
Thank you. It'll cost so much. I don't wish freaks out. You want to notice questions marked up here for the readers for next week? That's because we don't know who they are yet. Anybody would like to volunteer? Thank you. I'm Sal. You ready for the drawing? Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking. Don't change on that. Waste. How much together? Surely that's why you know where you're yeah. We share a lot of you now. Do a big draw? Oh, yeah, you ready for the draw? No. Well, you gotta collect some money, too. Yeah, that's good for us all. It's like, fine, ticket. No big time, no big mind. 826-103. Bingo. Oh, my God. All right, as y'all know, all proceeds on this go to our Christmas fancy every year. Look at our space. She do what she really for quarterly. Oh. I'm the pipe to the That's 3 for 3. Yeah, every time. And we go for a show. Yeah, that's not gross, right? Yeah. Let's go. Cheese. All right, thank you, Scott. Very great. Thank you. Is there any announcements for the club be brought up today?
Dave, I think you said it, maybe, but we need greeters for next week, like clipboards going around.
Shannon, you had something you brought up last week? Didn't you attend?
So let me look in here. Job. Who else is a new member less than a year? Who else?
Kenzie?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
If I could see you guys after the meeting, I want to talk about a service project that's coming up. I've already talked to a couple of the other new members. If anybody else is interested in getting involved in this service project, directly after the meeting by the big bright windows, I'll be standing right there. So it'll take just a minute. I'm not going to commit you by anything. I just want to talk to you about what's coming up.
Great, thanks, Ken. Our speaker for today. They be the announcer. I think, not, you know, right now. Ah, that's your life, that's you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend and dedicated public servant whose career has spent more than 4 decades in law enforcement. Sheriff Scott Enger, a Xenia native and Capital University graduate, served 30 years with the Xenia Police Department in roles ranging from SWAT and detective to captain. And after leading Greene County ACE Task Force and serving as chief deputy, he was appointed acting sheriff in 2021, following the passing of Sheriff Gene Fisher. He was then elected as our sheriff. He's focusing on strengthening our sheriff's office through recruitment, modern training, and addressing a critical need for updated detention facilities. Beyond his official duties, he brings a compassionate lens to law enforcement, advocating for mental health integration, family violence awareness, and building community connections. Please welcome me in joining. Please join me in welcoming Sheriff Scott Enger.
Very much. How much time do I have? About 25 minutes, okay. So if somebody just give me a flag if I get going too long. This is obviously something I'm very passionate about. I've been here before to talk to this group when it was in its infancy, still in an ideal kind of stage. So it's great to be back today with some good news and some progress that we're all really proud of. I'll give a shout out to Commissioner Gould. He was part of the team that helped bring this about. It really did take a huge effort, a huge team to get us to where we're going. And one of the main keys I thought that was needed to happen to get it done was we didn't need to argue over the grapes before we built the foundation. So everybody really has worked hard to do what's best for the county, both budget wise and what we need for our county for the next 50 years. So I have been in law enforcement. This is my 41st year and I'm 47 years old. And I'm not very good at math. No. Sean, do you know any good jokes? Sergeant Kessel, do you know any good jokes?
Sure.
I don't know any either, but I might tell one or two. Do we have any attorneys in here?
I think.
Do you can you tell me why you can't sue somebody if you fall in your own driveway? At your own asphalt. Okay. But anyway, the past 4 years, we've really been working hard on this. Again, it's coming up on a few months from when I was appointed sheriff. There was a long time that we needed this built facility, over 30 years. We've been under a consent decree since 1989 with Judge Rice, Judge Rice is still in office, and he is looking forward to coming to our ribbon cutting. I saw him this past summer when he was bringing new citizens that did it the right way into our world here, and just excited to see him come back to do that. But overcrowding and conditions, 1989. So here we are in 2025 that we're going to be proud of and we're going to be able to use. And it's named after Sheriff Gene Fisher. So it's the Greene County Gene Fisher Justice Center. So we had a little bit of divine intervention. And we had grants, and we were able to, after 2 failed levies, we were able to put together a plan with the commissioners and the county administrator to pay for the facility without any additional tax dollars or levies. So we're excited about that. Part of what allowed us to build our facility, which we are now in, we're in our second week of coroner's office, the sheriff's office, all of our operations with detectives patrol. We're in our second week, we're still moving in. But with phase one, we're in that building now. So that would not have happened. We would still be at 120 East Main Street, the 1929 car dealership that the sheriff's office has been housed in ever since anybody can remember. So that building was crumbling. And if it wasn't for a $15 million grant that we applied for and got because we had a shovel-ready project, we would we would be seeing the jail be built and we'd still be downtown. So the great part is we're going to be all under one lane out on the west side of town, and we're really going to upgrade our abilities for the next 50 years. So that was super exciting. I just want to kind of through some slides if you can see them, and then I'll try to go on to this is what the downtown jail looks like. It was built in 1969, and I swear it was built with World War II actual things in it. And so it was kind of obsolete. If you look at some of the conditions, I just want to show you, I don't want to dwell on it because that's the past. But if you've ever been on the grand jury or you've ever got the chance to go through that jail down there, this is what our mechanics for the county had to go work on. I mean, there was places here big enough for rodents to get in, and so that place is crumbling. So one of the big questions everyone asks is what's going to happen to that building? I won't go very far down the line. That'll be more for Mr. Huddleston and for the commissioners, but I know it's going to be demoed by in early next year. So that will be demoed. The Sally Port in this particular facility was not able to bear weight of an automobile. So we couldn't pull people into that to actually safely get them out of the car after arrest. And everyone in our county, every police agency in our county uses our jail. So we had 7 iterations of what we needed to do. We were at a time where supply chain was tough. Everything was tough. We didn't know how to do. And right about the time we were ready to bid it is when we got the $15 million to be able to do both projects. So they kind of had to put on the brakes and really take another look so they could bid the project only one time. So that was big. So we had 7 iterations. This was iteration number 1, and I'm just going to go fast. But we ended up, our 7th iteration did not have this pod in it, but in the future. So we will have plenty of beds, but it was built so even later on, if there needed to be more facilities added, they could be. Iteration number 1 would have been 384 beds, all new construction included in the patrol functions. So we have 382 beds currently between the 2 facilities. Once this is all done, we'll end up having 508 total beds. And what we'll be able to do, this is our garage, just kind of showing you what our storage look like. So we went from 7,800 square feet to 17,000 square feet. The hallways in there were so narrow you couldn't walk 2 people down the hallway at the same time. That's Dr. Sheridan, our groundbreaking. Some of you were probably at the groundbreaking. There's Governor DeWine. Just wanted to go, and of course, that's kind of like the beginning of where we started. In my 41 years, I've had worked with great people. I've had great training. I've had great equipment, but we've never had a facility that I think law enforcement officers deserve. So I'm really happy for us to be able to do this. We'll have locker rooms that have big enough lockers to put all the stuff that I gift out to people. Their SWAT stuff, their gas masks. I mean, our people have gotten more and more equipment that's required over the years. And they have this little skinny locker now upstairs in this bat infested place that they don't even put anything in it because why bother? It doesn't even work. So anyway, it's great to see everything locker rooms. we'll actually have a break. I know that sounds kind of like, oh, what, big deal? We never had a break room. We had one conference room that we used for roll call, conferences, training, lunches, you name it. So it was kind of hard for me to ever get into my own conference room. It's pretty tough. So we're gonna have, eventually, when we do the phase 3 of this, we're gonna have a workout room. So we're gonna have locker rooms that have substantial lockers, and everybody's gonna have a magnet that has their name on it. And on the other side of the hall, once phase 3 is done, we're gonna have a weight room, which is a really good thing, right adjacent. We're gonna have conference rooms, more than one conference room. The detective section will have its own conference room, and they're in that now. Because all the time when you get a search warrant, judge knows something happens really quick, and you have to put, a group of people together, and you need a space to just go handle it, and while the other things go on. So, and eventually, I'd like to get a gate put across there to make sure that we have all of our cruisers that are the public, so we can actually have it more secure. But the facility that we're in phase 1 has really been good. It's I haven't even got to sit at my desk very much to really enjoy it, but it's really a nice space. It's still surreal. Found myself the day before yesterday when I was supposed to drive back to that office. My muscle memory was taking me downtown, so that was pretty good. Phases 2 and 3, the timeline for those are going to be November 19th at 2 p.m. will be our ribbon cutting. And the reason that we did that is because we have 3 phases of the project. It didn't make sense to have it when we moved into phase 1. It made more sense to have it when the G inmates. So we're gonna have an open house kind of thing. We'll be glad to give some tours that day or any other day if you just get a hold of us ahead of time. But we want to give the ability to public to see the facility before the inmates get moved. The inmates will get moved over in December. So after December, phase 3 will start, which phase 3 is the ADC building, which is the current jail that was out there next to where we're at. It was built 25 years ago as a Band-Aid for all the things that we were talking about. It was basically built after a pole barn kind of idea. And it was something that throughout the process, we decided we needed to keep and use. So that's how we got up to 508 beds. And we're hoping to use that area as a less restricted, maybe as overflow, and maybe also for more program space. So our vision is to have the ability for people in jail to, get some training, get some certificates, maybe be on parenting, budgeting, mental health class. We want people that are incarcerated to have the chance to do some things that are productive while they're in there. So that's long term. I gotta admit, we're in a tough time right now because everybody you hear the world talk about social work, and let's just have them go to the call. Just do it. Well, I gotta tell you, first of all, there's not many social workers that want to do it. And secondly, there's not many social workers. So I had the whole dream, build what they will come. We are really trying to make them come, but what's happening is that sector is very competitive. So people in that field keep moving around. Where 10 years ago, they were like, you just tell us we're going to be there. Now the faith group, the faith-based people are awesome, but sometimes we have an overabundance of trying to help from them because we're not a prison. A lot of our people are short term. The average stay at our jail is, if you put the long-term sentences in, it's 23 days. If you put the short-term ones in, it's about 6 hours sometimes. We don't know. So we want to get a way of triage coming through our doors, and we want to be able to better serve them. But we don't know sometimes when they're going to get released, how long they're going to be there. But I can tell you, I like to say it, judges here, we have plenty of beds now. Back 5 years ago, we were having to release people. We could go to Cincinnati and pick somebody up on a warrant that we had outstanding, and they would be out released before we got the paperwork. So that's why all this needed to happen. Right now, we have been, and we're not going to be shy about if we have an abundance of beds, if we have to contract them out. We'll be looking at those kinds of things with the marshals or some different people to maybe bring back some income to the county to help with that. That's just me thinking out loud. But some of those options will be there that we've never had. So those are really good things. See. So now. Must have got out of range.
It's just slow.
That's kind of like the layout back when we first started. But hopefully I'll be able to show you with drone photos what some of the project, it's out there next to the, across from juvenile court, and it's next to the recyclable station, and it's also where adult detention center has been for 25 years. So as you can see, that's kind of like some of the early foundation work. And this is the old ADC. So we're going to reuse this space. I mean, it's going to be upfitted during the winter. So this space, our administrative building that we are now occupying is right out here in the front. So that's where all of our offices are. And that's where we have a difference of 7,800 square feet. That actually included the coroner's office to now 17,000 square feet, which was what the needs analysis said what we needed for our size of an agency. A lot of people might think, and people probably get tired of hearing me say this, but Greene County is not a small county. Greene County is 18th largest of 88 counties in the state. So, Clark County smaller than us, Fayette County, Clinton County, other than Montgomery County and Warren County, we're not a small county. So we have, we're growing, we have lots of needs. So that's why it's super exciting to get some of this done, because it just kind of shows some photos of it. Those are drone photos. You can kind of see Phillips over there. You can see the water. If you watch Yellowstone, we call that the train station. Hot ticket. And then here's a little bit of further one. It shows the outline of the building that we're occupying now. And there's some of the jail. There's Dick Gould, Rick Morales, Tom Kugler. Some of our staff. And they're, like I say, to me, that's what's great. The Greene County Justice Center, that's our front doors. It's really neat that it's, when we brought up the idea that we wanted to name it after Gene, we didn't have one dissenting person ever say that wasn't what we wanted to do. So, yes, sir.
Seth, could you explain to folks the difference between the ADC out there and the downtown jail previously, and then the difference between that and the new jail and how they're utilized?
Yeah, so the downtown jail is more of a linear design. It's old school design, and ADC was more of a minimum security, more layout, pod system, and that's why in the future we hope to use it for maybe programming and different things and overflow. And then our new facility is going to be a pod system. So, it'll be better use of personnel. It'll be safer. So it'll allow us with the existing personnel that we have to do more things. I don't know, David, if I answered that.
But you still have like crime and criminals and stuff in the.
Oh, yeah, that's, you just reminded me of a good point. We will have lots more options. Of like downtown now, all the ladies have to stay downtown just because that's the way everything is now. So every female inmate now is downtown, where it would probably be good if they were out at the other place, because we're not able to segregate medical, mental health, all those kinds of things. So the fact that we made it through COVID was the fact that we had a very good medical director that was common sense and helped us get through it. If we'd had somebody that wasn't common sense, we could have been in real trouble, because we had no place to segregate, people that had. So this one, the new one will have many more options. We will have a dental area with a full dental and equipment. So we won't have to take people out for appointments, which again is another safety thing. So that'll be nice. We'll just have the ability to flip the pods. So if we suddenly have more female inmates than we have male, there will be universal to how we can flip an area and change it over. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, but, there's a kind of an overview front picture of it when it got a little bit further along. So if you go out to 2295 Greenway Boulevard, CCW record checks, all those kinds of things are out there. You just go through the front door and they're over here on the right. And I think Representative Lampton is the very first customer for a background check. So that was good. There's some of the conceptual drawings. That's the nighttime conceptual drawing. The other thing is, I'll probably get off the topics, but we had no ability to have people come into Sallyport. So now our new Sallyport will have the ability to park 4 cars in it in an angled fashion and 2 buses. So we will have the ability to have the right kind of Sallyport for dealing with our customers, which is our other police departments that come to do what they do. And it'll be more efficient. And the wing that will go down that intake will have everything that they need. It'll have everything from decon to a BAC machine, to a fingerprint machine, to showers, to you name it. So that hallway, we modeled it after Warren County. So we kind of listened to Warren County about their lessons learned. They learned their stuff from Fairfield County, and I'm sure here in the next 6 months, we'll be trying to teach other sheriff's offices about their projects on how to make it work. How much time do I have left? I'm sorry.
25 minutes. What, 24 minutes?
Left?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how long I've been talking.
No, you got plenty of time.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, so as I was saying, we'll have medical isolation cells, we'll have dedicated, fully equipped dental office programming spaces, which was a big thing. The ability for detox, isolation, that's the other thing is a lot of times we get people that are substance abusers and mental health, a lot of times it's both. And having a space like that where while they're incarcerated, that they can be safely detoxed and, maybe not have to go to the hospital, where many times when people go to the hospital, that's a big manpower drain on us as far as what we do there. And sometimes it takes 2 people. You've probably heard in the news in Montgomery County when some bad things have happened at the hospital, and when you have a corrections officer there by themselves or whatever. So it's the hospitals are almost all requiring that we have at least 2 people there with an inmate that's being hospitalized, which I can understand. We'll have multiple sessions of video that can be done simultaneously, so the judges will be able to arraign people, they'll be able to see people over the televideo more. They won't be competing so hard for the same slots. That's really a hard thing for corrections officers when you got like 3 judges that want to do something at the same time. That's really tough on them. That's stressful. So, well, hopefully we'll make that better. We are going to do a holding cell downtown. That is in the plan and in one of the old juvenile court places. As we're getting through doing transports, we're going to have a holding facility down there for court people that are waiting. So that is coming to fruition as well. Talked about changing over female areas to male areas really quickly. We just in our part of our building, we have 40 cameras. So 40 cameras in our, and it's really truly the Truman Show. If you're not in your office, you're probably going to be on camera, which the cameras are awesome. When you used to come into our building on 120 East Main Street, the chief, which I was sat there for a while, you had SORN, which is sexual offenders, come in to see him to do their checkup. They'd be sitting right outside my office. So if I was on the phone or something, I'd walk out and I go, "Wow, didn't know this sexual offender was out here," So literally right there at the front. So we're going to get that set up the way it needs to be. Right now it is at our facility at the front. But what's gonna happen is in 3 months, when we open the new jail, it's gonna be over there in our jail as we're, it's gonna be a little bit safer and better for everybody, for them to report to the jail versus reporting to an area where victims may be or anything else. So we got, a room when you first go in that's secure, that you will be able to, has a camera in it. So being in the lobby, you can take somebody off of that room, and then bring them in their own room and take a report when people just show up to take a report on station. We'll have 3 interview rooms, which is, amazing. We need that. A lot of times when you get a busy night or you get a big crime, you might have to separate your witnesses or your suspects. We'll have a soft room. It's a little bit, more for like kids and parents. But we're not ever gonna replace Michael's house. Michael's house is the place where we take child victims. And that's been one of the best things that's ever happened to Greene County. So, but what we will do is have a softer room when we take reports for people that are victims, which is very important. So I don't want anybody to misunderstand that part. So our renovation of the ADC, which is the back portion, will be complete by February 23rd. So that area will encompass a lot of the other programming spaces, conference rooms, classrooms, and still have overflow beds. So, and then back here in the woods, we're gonna have something that's gonna be really good for us. We're gonna have a pole barn back there. Because a lot of our equipment, like SWAT or armored vehicles and other vehicles, they're kind of placed all around the place. So if you have a call out, it's kind of rough. Everybody's got to go to different locations to get things. So we'll have a centralized location where we can go and have all that stored on the same site. I know the county's excited about that. We're excited about that. So it'll be really good that way. We'll stop right now and just ask for any questions, and then I'll continue. Yes.
I like the word salad board. It's kind of a silly word, but anyway, can you, I'm not a police officer, what do you use that for?
So when you are bringing somebody to the jail from another agency, it's basically a secure area we drive into, and it's secure once they close the door, and that's where you take your suspect out of your vehicle and start him into the intake of being processed into the jail. Yes.
I have 2 questions. What's the longest stay that?
Well, I mean, they could be at our jail up to 6 months. Doesn't happen a lot anymore, but again, if you average all these sentences together, our average client is 23, 24 days. It's not as long as you think, but if you take out the long sentences, it's about 3 or 4 days. So that you can understand that's why it makes it difficult for us to provide programming in the jail, because there's so many different time frames that we're trying to deal with. So that makes it, that's why it makes it easier for a prison ministry or a prison thing to work, because, that's a structure every day, how long it's gonna last most of the time. And there's a thing called TCAP, and it's a thing I want to talk to the judges even more about here in the future, but where they're trying to keep people locally instead of sending them to the prisons. So in theory, we would have more people in our local jails. And that's kind of a state given thing. So we're not sending people to prison, so they would be staying locally. So that is something that is in effect in Greene County currently. So our census in the jail is not what it used to be. It really isn't. It's a lot of people. We used to have the inmates wash our cars. We used to have our inmates do things, and quite honest with you, we really don't do that anymore, because we don't really have any inmates in there that really qualify for being called a trustee. Because if you're in the jail, you probably need to be there, and there's no like, hey, this guy's got 28 days of a DUI sentence, let's let him do this. We don't have those people in the jail anymore.
I remember when we were talking about building it, one of the concerns we had was the volume of failed to appear warrants, and I think we had like 1,100, if I recall. Has that gone down?
And the judge would probably be better at answering that question, but it is very high, and it's a frustrating thing for me, and I don't mind saying it because I'm an opinionated guy. I've been around a long time. It frustrates me to see how many warrants that we have and how we have to go out and get people a second time. I'm a big proponent of bonds and keeping them there, taking care of the problem. So the conversation, but I'm working on part of our new building is having an MX908 machine that tests drugs quicker. So one of the reasons why a lot of the warrants happen is because we release people after making good drug arrests. And because we have to wait for the lab test. So just like ICE or just like you hear, it makes sense to take care of that all at once, even for people that are trying to rehab or whatever. What happens is we arrest them or we take their photo, we book them in, and then we release them. And then 5 or 6 months later, we get lab results. And then we have to go find them, and they may have lived on 15 couches since then. So it makes it difficult. And then you got to take more resources and do it again. So one of the things that's going to happen is we're going to get an MX908 machine, which Mr. Rushing knows about it. We had a lot of people donate to the cause, and we're going to get our drugs tested within 10 days of grand jury so we can take our cases through in a real-time manner. So that's something that's exciting that will happen maybe in October. We're going to get 10 people in the county from all different agencies, and we're going to host it at Greene County Sheriff's Office. And that way, when somebody gets arrested, they won't have that 5 month delay and I do think that's why we have a lot of our warrants, because we're releasing people on felonies and they don't see the judge. And I want them to see the judge and I want them to have a bond. I don't need to care what happens. I want them to see the judge, and then I want them to start that process of whatever's going to happen instead of kind of coming back 5 or 6 months later and doing it. Any other questions?
How many people the average holding on pretrial defendants, a patient waiting trial?
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't get that percentage. I did know that percentage. It's not a lot. It really isn't a lot, but that is a good stat for me to know. And I don't have it on the tip of my tongue, but it's not as much as you think. It really isn't. And again, I will say it again, and I'll take the hit if people don't like it. I believe in bonds. I believe in people having a bond. I think there's too many people that are just walking out the door and your kids, my grandkids, whatever, are in danger because of it. And I'm a big advocate for bonds as a sheriff. And I think we've gotten away from it. And we have all these tools like canines. We have all these things that we put in place to do the job. And then it's kind of like disheartening for an officer to make a good arrest and then have to let him right out the door. So that's something that's been among other things, that's something that I feel is a priority. I believe in the programming side, I believe in all of it. But one of the parts of the war that I think that we've gotten to the point where we're not paying attention to how many people not being held accountable. And I think if you're not held accountable on the small things, you'll get into the big things. And I truly believe that. Yes,
Sheriff, rank the crimes in Greene County. Where are we having the high points types of crimes?
and I think mostly, most things are drug related. Thefts, a lot of our thefts are drug related. You probably wouldn't know this, but Yellow Springs zip code is probably our highest homicide part of Greene County. Most people wouldn't think that, but when stuff happens in Yellow Springs, it happens. But we have a drug problem, mostly meth. But we live 10 miles, our office is 10 miles east of Dayton, and Dayton is the hub of drug trafficking and drug trade, 75. It's like ground zero. So we literally have a lot of people coming to and from Dayton. So we get the residual part of that. So I would say drugs, and it's not a victimless crime either. Get rid of the editorial stuff, but it's not a victimless crime. I mean, it really isn't. So I would say drugs and deaths that are related to drugs. And yes,
Sheriff, I hear there's a full story about the furniture and the administrative side.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, one of the good things that happened in the building is we were talking with Major Keller and we said, man, wouldn't it be nice if we could get all wood furniture when we build our buildings? Wouldn't it be neat to have real wood? And we thought there's no way in the world we could afford it. And we just kind of talked about it because our county services people built some pretty nice things in the county. They did really good work. And it's all the older honey smoke stuff. But we were able to, believe it or not, a company in Berlin, Ohio, an Amish company, we got a bid for them to do our furniture. It's kind of a long story, but they did our furniture and they came in 40% lower than what it would come to. Now, there was only one other person that bid on all wood furniture. They had like 4 middle people and they were like $1 million more. So this company came in 40% lower than the sawdust commercial stuff. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's a poplar. It's not an oak, but it's a poplar and it's stained a cherry. So all the parts that are not commercially needed, like in the jail, but people's offices and desks and things like that are all made with this Amish thing. And I could not believe it. I kept waiting for the catch. I thought I was going to be scammed. I kept thinking, surely they're not going to be able to do it for this. And they totally delivered. We went to their factory and saw how they did things. And they said, we will shut our factory down for 7 days and do your order. And the day they said they were going to bring our furniture, they said, we're going to be in your building about all week, delivering this furniture. By Tuesday night, about 9 o'clock, they were done. And they had it all delivered super. So I don't, I'm not with that company or anything. And I know we didn't want to recommend them to a whole lot of people until we got our stuff. So we're really thrilled with how that's turned out. So yeah, if you read on Facebook, man, these people have spent too much money. I don't know why they got such nice stuff. They don't deserve it. I can tell you, I can show you the figures. I got them on my phone right now. How much difference all the bids made.
How do you handle food service? I can remember a day when the sheriff's wife, I can remember Tom Wilson inviting me over, having a breakfast that his wife served. How do you handle it? Do you have contractor service or how's it work?
Yes, we have Airmark.
Airmark.
So we have a little bit of logistical thing when we have the, we're doing this part of our building back here. We have, we have to bring meals in from Airmark from Montgomery County.
Good.
Because the kitchen in this building is going to be rehabbed and that's going to be the kitchen we use.
Oh,
So literally to get a hot meal, we have under section 311 of the Ohio Revised Code, it tells us all the stuff that we have to do as sheriff. And that's the number one thing. And you have to have a hot meal every day. And so to stay in compliance with that for 12 weeks while they're doing some of that over there, we're going to still be, so it's gotten probably a little bit bigger than 4. So to show you a few more. Wanted to bring up that. Wanted to show you the most recent drone video. I don't know how to scroll down. Can I get some help here on the, I just need to go down to slide 62. Because it's on your, but this is our most recent drone photo of the campus out there. So you can kind of see what it's turning into.
Hey, Sheriff.
you have 5 minutes.
While it gets that, how many acres is the whole?
It's just under 15 acres. We had 9.8 acres that they fit that in between the recyclable center and the existing ADC. So the whole footprint's like 15 acres, right at.
Are you ready?
Yes. Yeah, so this is kind of a view of kind of what it looks like now. And you can see the new jail over here. There'll be 274 beds in this jail. And again, it'll be all different types of things. Coroner's office is on the far left. They got their own entrance, which they never had before. they've got a conference room, can you imagine that? A coroner's office has a conference room where they can actually bring people that have had deaths in their family and come in and consult with them. So that's really exciting for them to, flag was at hashtag because our deputy that passed. Sorry, yeah, no, that's fine. Again, I'll just continue with some questions. I talked about the ribbon cutting. Yes, sir. You mentioned that a bond versus just releasing. Don't they pay the money and get released with the bond? They can, but there's been a big movement. There's a House Bill 86, and there's a lot of different things that have happened that have come from, the state level and that, kind of change things for judges and officers. And then they had, remember the time when we had we had to have a constitutional amendment. So judges could use somebody's past behavior for their idea of what the bond should be, which was crazy. And who thought we'd ever have a constitutional amendment that said you had to be a US citizen to vote? And at about the same time, you had a judge who actually used somebody's past to decide how dangerous they might be or blah. So again, I'm not an expert on bonds, but sometimes the bonds are 10%, for things, and then sometimes there's no bond. And there was a period where when they were getting under that kind of a thought process at Xenia Municipal Court and some of them, there was a time when there was no bonds, and it's something we totally snapped out of it. Once you get doing something, you just keep doing it whether you have to or not.
I think maybe the question was, what's the difference between somebody goes out on their own signature versus they posted a bond and in the likelihood of returning and you not having to chase it down? I think that's what our question.
Yeah, and to me, it depends on the severity. That would be a hard stat for me to give you, but it really depends on the individual, but yeah, things are different. I mean, things are different. It used to be people got probation, and then if they messed up on probation, they got locked up, which second, third chances, that's fine, but it's not even so much that anymore. So again, won't be shy about telling you as a sheriff, I like law and order, and I like people getting help too, but I do think that as a society, I think we got to get back to accountability if we want to have the kind of society that we want and that we deserve. I think we've gotten away to, we've turned it into, it's a stigma to hold people accountable. And
Right.
it used to be the other way around, like things get turned around, and again, that's kind of what happens. But anyway, the bond, I do talk with the judges, and I do talk, there was a time when there was no room in the inn. And that isn't the time we have now. And then there is. So when people make their decisions, it's not me. I don't want to be, that's not me. But I want them to see the judge. So having a bond, for me, it makes them get to see the judge. And then the judge gets to decide instead of them. Another thing is, if we want to further investigate somebody, if we have somebody that is being held, that gives us an opportunity to send a detective or somebody to go talk to them while they're incarcerated, and we kind of lost some of that. So that's where I come from. I come from an area. I was on the mental health recovery board for 12 years. I love all the different things that we try to do for everybody, but I do think we've entered a time frame where I read reports and I shake my head. I go, really? That was a catch and release, and I personally don't like.
That's not the best way to calm down.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. If any of you use apps and you don't know about our Greene County, Ohio Sheriff's Office app, it is very handy. It's got everything that you need to know, all the agencies, all the hospitals. It's got road closures. It has the Board of Elections. You can pretty much send us a tip anonymously. It has everything that you need on it. The engineer uses it for road closings. all those kinds of things. So if you go on your Android or Apple Greene County, Ohio Sheriff, you can see this app. It has all your information about CCW permits. It has your SORN offenders on there. It has just about anything you can imagine. It even has a place, you know, I'm getting kind of old. It has That's good in the longitude and latitude.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that update. Well, thank you for coming here today. And as usual, we donate a book to the Greene County Library. And you don't, Scott has already signed the book for us. So I'll get it to Beth and she'll get it to the library. Can I get somebody to get a picture?
What's the name of the book?
Pardon?
What's the name of the book?
The book is How to Catch an Invisible Bad Guy.
I'm gonna have to get that.
Amanda's here.
You can go read it.
Oh,
There you go, a picture for posterity.
There you go.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I do have this is cards. If anybody wants them, I'll send them over on the table. Anybody ever needs anything or if anybody wants to stick around and ask me further questions, I'll be glad to.
Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next week, our speaker is John Greenwood. He's from the new leadership initiative from Cedarville University. And our greeters will be Chuck and someone, maybe me. Keep an eye on our programs coming up on our Facebook page and our website that John Gundel keeps up for us.
Jim.
Is anything else? It's okay.
Name's Jim.
Jim,
John?
John, not his brother.
John, say John. Sure.
If anybody, and I know some of you tried to come last year, but next Thursday at the One Bistro, everybody eats week. If anybody likes to come in and be served by us or, you know, support that organization, our sheriff's office will be there on Thursday for lunchtime.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else with the good club? We're having a brief board meeting after the meeting here. But a pledge of allegiance to the United States. Republic. And one nation. Jesus. This is. I won't have to. I can hear it.